listening to the Top Music Guitar Podcast, the show for guitar teachers to learn about the craft of teaching great guitar lessons that students love. If you're looking to start or expand your studio and make guitar teaching your full-time dream job, you've come to the right place. Each week, you'll get to hear from some of the top guitar teachers from around the globe and get their best tips and experiences so you too can build your own dream studio. I'm your host, Michael, and I've founded one of the top guitar schools in Australia, written a best-selling curriculum, and I mentor guitar teachers. I'm excited to share my expertise with you and the wisdom of all the experts we interview. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Let's get into it. Hello there, guys, and welcome to another solo episode of the Top Music Guitar Teaching Podcast. Now, the reason I'm coming at you solo is because I have been far too sick the last 2 weeks to actually record an episode, which is unfortunate, but I literally lost my voice for the first time ever, and not COVID related or anything like that. I was moving house and I had to transport a whole bunch of really moldy, fungal infested, covered in worms, spiders, crickets, slugs and snails, really disgusting carpets that had basically been sitting out the back of our rental house where me and my partner had been renting, and they'd been there for literally since day one of the lease. They were there from the previous tenant, and I'd put them in a bunch of plastic garbage bags and put them out the back, and they had just deteriorated. And unfortunately, as we've moved out, I had to take them to the tip, and I loaded them up in the car. I was driving to the tip, which was about a 30-minute drive in one direction. When I got there, it was shut. And so I had to drive back the other way, all while I'm breathing in these mold spores and mushrooms and all this other disgusting stuff. It was like literally being in a cave, if you've ever been in a cave or something like that. And it just made my throat feel disgusting. And then the next morning, I had to drive back again and do another 30-minute trip with all this kind of stuff. And I could just feel something wasn't right in my throat. And later that evening, I completely lost my voice. So I lost it for a couple of days. We had our AFL Grand Final here in Australia, and I couldn't even boo Collingwood, my arch rival. I'm a Carlton supporter here, so Collingwood's our key rivals, our biggest nemesis, and I couldn't even boo them in the Grand Final. But to all the Pie supporters listening at home, congratulations on your win. Nothing better than winning the Grand Final, and the town is alive when Collingwood's in it. But anyway, I lost my voice, and then wasn't in any pain until about 3-4 days later. And it sort of turned into a sore throat and a chest infection. So I might cough and splutter my way through this podcast episode today, but it is what it is, and we've got to get an episode out to you guys so that we don't miss out. So what I wanted to talk about today was something I've been inspired to do from Alex Hormozy, as most of you or some of you may know. He launched one of his books coming up a month ago now, $100 million leads. And it was an absolutely fantastic launch for any of you that did go and see it. And if you haven't picked up a copy of his book, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you pick up a copy of his book. We'll link it in the description, $100 million leads. Now, I wasn't inspired so much by his launch as he did in the lead up to the launch. And I watched this video, and he was giving a talk, and he said, I'm going to sell this book for $1,000. Who reckons I can sell it for $1,000? And there's a room of 400 people or so. And he goes, when you think this book is worth $1,000, please stand up. And he goes, okay, so I've got 5 copies of this book. They're worth $1,000 each. No one stands up. So he goes, okay, I'm going to autograph each of these 5 books here. Stand up if you think it's worth $1,000 now. Maybe one person stands up out of a room full of 400. He goes, okay, so at the moment, my book, which normally retails for $30, isn't really worth $1,000 yet. And he goes, what if I tell you it's a really good book? Is it worth $1,000? No, even if the knowledge inside it might be worth tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. No one's changed their perception. He goes, what if it's an Amazon bestseller? What if it's a New York Times bestseller? So it's not quite $1,000 yet, but it's already changing our perception of what the book is. But then he does something really interesting. He goes, what if I write my phone number in this book? So he grabs one of the books and he writes his phone number in it. So if you buy this book For $1,000, you've got my personal phone number. You can call at any time. Half the room instantly stands up. He made one little addition to his book. Instantly added $1,000 to it. What was it? It was a phone number. Something obviously significant for him, but what could that translate to for you? So then he starts adding some extra things. He goes, well, if you buy this book for $1,000, I'm going to run a free Zoom training session with you and your enterprise. Stand up if you think it's worth $1,000 now. Yeah, another 100 people stand up. He's got 3/4 of the room and he's added 2 things. He goes, what happens if you buy this book for $1,000 and I'll chuck in a free audit of your website? You know, a whole bunch more people. If you buy this book for $1,000, what I will do is I will come to visit your company, do a complete audit of all these things, and give you our top 3 recommendations to overcome your biggest problem. He adds a few little extra things, but by the end of it, he's got the entire room, except one guy in a wheelchair, standing up. You know, people are running down the stage to try and buy the book off him for the get the copy with his phone number in it. But he just took a book, and what he did was keep on adding value, keep on giving extras on top, bonuses, extra incentives to try and get someone to pay the full $1,000 for what they're going to get. Now, you might be at this point going, hey, Michael, why are you waffling on about this? Like, what is the purpose of this? But it's just to go and show you that you can literally charge whatever you want for your guitar lessons. If you've ever seen my website, I don't just have one price for my guitar lessons. I have different packages for my guitar lessons. I have the $50 an hour lessons. I have the $100 per hour lessons. I have the $200 per hour lessons. And I have a number of different tiers and packages. I have a number of students paying me $1,000 per month to take guitar lessons with me. People wonder why I'm the 6-figure man or think it's possible. You literally only need 10 people paying you $1,000 a month to earn $100,000. Like, it might seem unrealistic, but it's definitely doable. So I don't think anyone should be just charging, a dollar amount for a lesson. You should be having packages. You should have your budget lesson option, depending on where you are in the world, $147 a month, $99 a month, something that everyone can say yes to, or maybe just slightly higher than whatever the going rate is, so that it sets you apart from the competition and stops, a whole bunch of lower socioeconomic people wasting your time. Now, I'm not making a value judgment on people who are poor or don't have as much money, but they're not generally ideal clients. We want people to be able to pay us for our lessons, and we want people to be able to pay us on time and us not have to be chasing them up about money and payment and all those kind of things. So I'm a big advocate of pricing yourself in the upper third of the market. That way you get high quality clients as a consequence of that. So you want to have a budget or an entry-level package, but then you also want to have a mid-tier package. Charge $247 to $300 per month for those kind of lessons. And then you want to have an upper tier, a $500 package and a $1,000 package. If you have a rich lawyer who just wants to learn how to play guitar and he's happy to pay you $1,000 a month, you've got to have that offer. But if you've got 50 clients, then I guarantee you that some of those 50 clients are basically going to be able to pay you more than what you're asking. If you're charging $99 per month for lessons, there's going to be people who can barely afford that. There are going to be people who are just priced, that's the sweet spot for them. There's other people who would happily pay you $200, $300, $500 a month. The only reason they're not is because you never asked them to, or you never created a package that they could get. So that's something that's important to pay attention to there. One of the biggest keys to my success when I was first building my business and I went from just being a regular guitar teacher like everyone else to making significantly more money was using tiered memberships. Having a $147 membership for the people that could attend once a week, having a $247 membership for people who could attend twice a week, and having a $400 per month membership for people that want to do 3 sessions per week. And one of the cool things was at one point in time, I had more students doing the 3 hours per week, the $400 membership, than I did doing the 2 hour per week or the 1 hour per week membership. I've also had periods of time where I was like, hey, unless you're going to commit to 2 hours per week and pay me the $247 membership, then I don't want to have you as a student. I literally took off my 1 hour per week lesson package for a period of time. And that was really cool because I only had really committed people coming to my studio, and they were all way more committed. They were practicing a lot more. They were more invested in their guitar playing, and I had tons and tons of fun. Now, I was also doing a lot of trial lessons sessions and knocking people back because they couldn't afford that amount. So I eventually brought back my 1 time per week option. But it was really, really cool for that 18, 24 month period where the only students I had were the people doing 2 sessions per week, and they were all getting very good very quickly.
So we're halfway through today's episode, but before we dive back into our discussion, let's take a moment to talk about the Top Music Guitar Teachers membership. Now, this isn't just another course or another run-of-the-mill membership. It's a game changer for guitar teachers just like you. Imagine having a supportive community of like-minded professionals, mentorship from industry experts, and a wealth of resources and teaching tips at your fingertips. Our membership empowers you to grow your teaching skills and build a thriving guitar teaching business around whatever you want to do, whether that's online, offline, building courses, creating awesome products, whatever you want to do. Join us today for only $49 per month and unlock your full potential as a guitar teacher. Now, back to the podcast.
So what I'm recommending for you is if you just have, this much $30 for 30 minutes or $50 per an hour, you've got to break away from that. What you've got to do is set up packages. You need to get people paying you per month. You need to get them on some sort of subscription plan like Easy Debit or even PayPal. That's a nice, easy one to get started with. But you want to stop taking money on a per lesson basis. You want to stop having students pay you cash and you having to do trips to the bank, or they go 3 weeks in a row without paying you, and then you have to have a difficult phone conversation with them. You need to set up lesson packages. You need to get your students on some sort of subscription software so that takes away all the hard work and annoying phone calls and things like that you would otherwise have to deal with. And then you can start this offer stack, adding value. And this is where I want to prompt you to think is, what can you actually offer in your lessons so it's more than just guitar lessons? Why should anyone take lessons with you when they could take lessons with any other teacher, especially if there's going to be some person who's new to guitar teaching and is going to drive to their house for half the price of what you're charging? There's a certain percentage of the market who's just going to go for a cheap price and the convenience of the lesson. So unless you can offer something that's better than those things, then you're always going to lose out to people who are undercutting you. So what can you add in addition to your guitar lessons themselves to enhance the value? And here's some thought. The basic package, $147 per month, you literally only get the guitar lesson. That's it. The $247 per month package, it might have the guitar lesson, but it also has access to the whole video library that you put together. So you can record some bonus lesson videos or your own little curriculum. All my Guitar Ninjas licensees, basically they get access to the database of lessons, and when they go to sign students up, they can value add. They can say, hey, you're not just getting the lessons here, you're getting an entire Guitar Ninjas curriculum program, but more importantly, you're getting access to all the online courses and supplementary video material that you can watch anytime you want. Why that's really good for the student is because if you have your lesson on a Monday and by Wednesday you've practiced everything, you don't have to wait another 6 days to be able to have your lesson and get the next step or the next bit of information. What ends up happening is you can start moving forward so you can learn at a faster pace. And unlike YouTube, where it's a whole bunch of random lessons that you can get confused by, this is structured, it's set out, it's relevant to what we're working on in the lesson. That's going to help you guide you towards the path that you want to take and achieve your goals. So that's an instant value add. And if the student's like, oh, well, I'm not really going to practice that much, you go, yeah. So if you haven't touched the guitar between Monday and Friday and you go to practice, you can't remember what to do, you just log on and there's a video of me demonstrating what to work on. So it covers both bases. So all of a sudden, they're not just getting the lesson, they're getting access to a whole database or a whole library of things. You might make it that once a month, there's a special workshop they can attend. It could be an ear training workshop. They could get a special music theory course. They could get participation in a monthly open mic night or a quarterly student concert. it doesn't matter what the bonus is. The main thing is you just have a couple of extra things that you throw in your membership, and from there, it incentivizes the students to upgrade to a VIP option so they get more out of it and you get more money out of it. Sometimes the things can be totally free for you to add. And this is like, do you want the special coat of paint on the car, or do you want the nice smell put through? Whatever it happens to be, there's a whole bunch of things which you pay for every time you get your car serviced or maintained, which they might be $5 things for the mechanic, but they charge you a full $50. Now, we don't want to take advantage of people here, but we do want to create valuable additional services or products that we can give them and then reap the benefits of doing so. And of course, VIP, simple things like, can you record the lessons and send them the recordings? Are you running the lessons in a really high quality studio? Are you going to do something like have a mini course? So not necessarily just lessons, but it could be a 10-week total guitar transformation kind of program that you put people through. So rather than have $50 per 60 minutes, what you might do is have a 10-week program. You make the lessons $80 per 60 minutes, and you're already making more money off it, but you include a PDF booklet that they're going to get, and you include a weekly group Zoom call where everyone jumps on at the same time and you do the Q&A based off of the booklet or what they're working on for that week. So you just got to think about different ways you can leverage your time and sell things as packages, and again, move away from the tried and true $30 for 30 minutes, $50 for an hour, whatever it happens to be. And if you sell these exciting packages, just having a sexy name for it can really make a big difference. And if it's going to be the 10-week total guitar transformation level 1, at the end of those 10 weeks, you can have level number 2. Or if they've done the blues course, introductory blues guitar program, then at the end of that, they can go into the jazz one or the country one, or they can go to the level 2 blues one. So there's tons and tons and tons of different things that you can do. If it's the blues jam, this is something I did. We did our 10-week blues program, and we basically learnt 10 songs in 10 weeks. And in the last week, or week number 11, is we had a jam session at a real venue. I just hired a venue. Everyone got up on stage. I played drums. The other teacher played bass, and we got our students singing and playing guitar. And they did a gig which they invited their friends and family to at the end, and got up and performed and loved it. So we charged them more for that program than what we would have for a lesson. And at the end of it, they all paid for like this extra week. So all we did was hire a venue, put on a show. 2 of us worked for 2 hours and maybe, carted a carload worth of gear over to a pub. But they paid a premium for that. And again, we weren't taking advantage of it. We were giving them lessons. We were giving them bonus booklet and transcriptions we'd done. And most importantly, we gave them something priceless, a gig at the end of it that they helped put on themselves, that they performed at, that they played through their 10 songs, and then they jammed on a whole bunch of other songs at the end. And that was something that was like the highlight of their year, or the highlight of their guitar playing up until that point. And that was something we created as a special program out of the ordinary. And many of those people did regular lessons, and we just said, hey, we're doing a special blues thing. Are you interested? And they went out of their regular program, paid $80 more per week, a little bit more per month, close to $200 more per month than what they were normally paying to get this special thing. And it was very, very special and turned out to be very, very profitable. So to bring this one in for landing, you want to think about what are all the things you can add to your lessons that are going to increase the perceived value and have your students pay more. And one last little thing that I will add in here is some of you can feel really bad about asking for more money. Don't feel bad about it. You want your students to pay you as much as possible, not because of the money benefit for you. Of course, it's in your best interest to get paid more. But the more people spend on your lessons, the more committed they're going to be. And that's the whole put your money where your mouth is. People can say, oh yeah, I want to do guitar, I want to practice. I can guarantee you the people that are paying me $999 per month to learn with me are my best students. They are the ones that practice multiple hours every single day. They're super serious about it, and they live and breathe guitar, as opposed to the people who go, I'll take the cheaper option. I'm just going to do this one and see if I like it. And if I don't like it, I'm going to quit. And they last 2 weeks and you never see them again. So when people put their money where their mouth is, it is a sign of commitment. And if people are paying you these big amounts of money to learn with you, it's because they can see the value that you are providing. Now, if you don't provide the value, then they're not going to stick around. And you can definitely overprice things. You don't just want to gouge people. There has to be the actual perception of the value, and people need to feel justified in paying it. Otherwise, they're obviously not going to sign up, or they're not going to stick around long enough to become good guitar players. But most of your students are going to pay you more than what you're currently charging them. And the only reason they're not is because you never asked them. So you need to think about ways you can add value to your program. What are all the additional cool things you can say that you're doing that you can add to your program? Can you give your program sexy names? Can you add different things together into packages that are exciting and fun? And of course, then you've got to go out and do it. You've got to actually create your packages. You've got to get your students signed up for them. You've got to get them away from paying per lesson, and you've got to get them paying monthly on some sort of subscription software. If you can do that, not only is it going to take so much stress away from the day-to-day running of your business, but it's also going to make you stand out as someone doing something really cool and interesting and unique in the guitar teaching space and in your local area. It's going to make what you're doing come across as being perceived as so much more valuable than what the other guitar teachers in your area are going to be doing. And when people pay more for these premium packages and they see the value and they enjoy it, you make money, you win. They are more committed, they get better results, they win, and the cycle repeats. You just keep on coming up with cool things that you can do with them, and that translates to more money and a better value and a better reputation and better students, and that cycle of positivity continues. Anyway, guys, that is it for me with this solo guitar episode. We'll probably come up next week with another solo one. And if you know any guitar teachers who are doing cool things, maybe you are a really cool guitar teacher, maybe you know someone that's doing some cool stuff, or you'd love me to interview someone in particular, please hit me up, michael@topmusic.co, and we can hopefully get them on the podcast or get you on the podcast and talk some really cool, exciting guitar teaching stuff. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Have a good one.
Hey there, guys. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Top Music Guitar Teaching Podcast. If you have any questions about anything we discussed on the podcast, reach out to me at michael@topmusic.co via email. If you want to guest on the show because you're doing some wonderful things in the teaching space, I would love to hear from you. Or if you've got any suggestions for guests or topics we can discuss, as always, you know where to find me. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is our Top Music Guitar Teaching membership. We have over 1,000 members at Top Music, and that is a huge community of people that you can connect with online, share wonderful teaching tips, and of course, network with. We've also got over 20 courses for music teachers, 12 special ones for guitar on every topic imaginable, from group teaching, private teaching, how to find more students, how to build websites, everything you could possibly want to need to know about teaching, building a business, and getting more students is covered. And you get access to all of this for $49, probably less than what you charge for a 1-hour private lesson every single month. So don't miss out on this awesome opportunity. Visit our website, www.topmusicguitar.com, and join us in the membership. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.